From the soldiers slamming Dwayne Johnson for switching careers, to the rivals having an awkward relationship on the set of Fast X, here's John Cena opening up about his feud with The Rock. Cena spilled the beans on his fight with Dwayne Johnson on the latest episode of the Happy Sad Confused podcast. The two have been beefing for quite some time since back when they were wrestling, but they had always stayed buddies behind the scenes. But things took a turn for the worse back in 2012. Dwayne made the controversial jump into acting, and that didn't sit well with John. Instead of handling the situation like mature adults, Cena went all out and publicly slammed Dwayne. He regretfully admitted on the podcast that he was being selfish, and he didn't bother to consider anyone else's perspective. He was so caught up in his WWE persona that he couldn't see the bigger picture. Looking back, he realized that he should have approached Dwayne privately and said something like, "Hey man, let's team up and make something awesome together." But no, he decided to kick down the door and call Dwayne out in a big way. It was a moment of opportunity for him, and he seized it without thinking about the consequences. He said he later realized what Dwayne and other wrestlers like Dave Bautista were trying to do. They were breaking barriers, pushing boundaries, and taking the wrestling world to new heights. On the other hand, he was being selfish and only thought about how badly he wanted a main event marquee match. He thought it would elevate his business, but he failed to see the bigger picture. It worked though. Cena's stunt did grab attention and sold an insane amount of tickets, but it came at a cost. Their friendship was strained, and the two wrestling superstars ended up with serious bad vibes between them. Thankfully, they eventually communicated and patched things up, but it was definitely a rough start to their relationship. So how did the feud between them actually start? Back in 2008, John Cena was interviewed by The Sun, and the topic of The Rock came up. And let me tell you, Cena aired out all his dirty laundry for the world to hear. He wanted to make it clear that he actually thought that The Rock was a genuinely nice guy. They had met before, and according to Cena, The Rock was a fantastic human being. So no personal beef there. But here's where Cena's pet peeve came into play. He had this bone to pick with The Rock, and it all revolved around his passion and commitment to WWE. Cena said he was sick and tired of hearing about it all the time, from young and mid-card talent, and anyone who aspired to make it big in the wrestling business. They would tell him that they wanted to wrestle their entire life, but never actually pulled through with it. And guess what? Cena felt that The Rock fell into that category too. He believed that Dwayne loved wrestling at one point and dreamed of being in the ring for his entire life. But then why couldn't he come back for the 15th anniversary show, or even make a tiny appearance at WrestleMania? The answer was simple in Cena's mind. The Rock looked down on wrestling and saw acting as a much better industry. Now, Cena wasn't hating on his acting career. In fact, he thought The Rock was a very good actor who had done amazing things in that field. He understood that being associated with sports wouldn't have done much for The Rock's acting career, but it did help the wrestling audience get excited. At the end of the day, Cena just wanted honesty. He said he didn't appreciate it when someone claimed to love wrestling, but was only using it as a stepping stone to something else. That's what really pissed him off. But still, he couldn't help but get excited about the idea of him making a comeback in the wrestling world.
The 10-year wait is over.
And let me tell you, fans would lose their minds over that. The Rock had this incredible admiration from the audience, and Cena knew firsthand how passionate wrestling fans could be. He had been on the other side of the barricade as a fan himself, attending all the shows and soaking up the action. He also understood the dedication and money that fans poured into supporting the product. And still, The Rock had been absent from the scene, off the TV screens, and not giving any energy back to the fans. That's what rubbed Cena the wrong way. He just wished The Rock would show up, even just do his signature eyebrow raise for a second, and then disappear into the sunset. Simple, right? Despite his frustration, Cena wanted to make it clear that he thought Dwayne was still a great guy. No personal grudges there. He said he liked that The Rock had found another passion. And hey, there's nothing wrong with that. The Rock had found success in Hollywood, making blockbuster films and raking in the big bucks.
Hey, you see that, birds? You don't mess with the kid. Like that.
On the other hand, Rocky's perspective was different. He believed that he had accomplished everything he could in the WWE, and decided to blaze a trail for wrestlers to explore opportunities beyond the arena. After all, no one had ever done it before, and he wanted to reduce the stigma around wrestlers finding other passions. And you know what? It seems like he did just that. WWE films became a thing, and some wrestlers even scored roles in movies. The Rock opened up a world of possibilities, showing that stardom in the wrestling ring didn't have to end there. This debate has sparked a fair share of feuds and intense matches between the two wrestling titans over the years. But you know what's surprising? Cena has actually been pretty apologetic to The Rock lately. Who saw that coming? After taking a break and making his glorious return to the ring in 2021, Cena spilled the beans on his secret wish, hoping that The Rock would make a comeback to the world of wrestling too. And guess what? His wish came true. Even if The Rock only returned as the host of WrestleMania 27 in January 2011, Cena made it clear that the wrestler had earned the right to make his own choices and not be pressured into anything. He respected Rocky's decision and acknowledged that he was a fan of the WWE. Cena even gave him a well-deserved shout-out, calling him the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. Now, as a die-hard fan, Cena said he would love to see him step back into the WWE ring. I mean, who wouldn't be pumped to witness that epicness? But here's the thing. Cena's not gonna bug him with constant calls and pleas to return. If they ever talk, it'll be about anything other than wrestling. Because Cena said he has a lot of regrets, but his biggest one had to be how he managed to screw up his friendship with Dwayne Johnson. But things have been looking up between the two, and fans were shocked when Fast X was announced, featuring both of them in it together.
Uncle Jacob?
Your dad sent me.
Can't wait to see you get out of this one.
Although The Rock had a heated debate with Vin Diesel, he agreed to make a cameo appearance in Fast X. And just like his feud with Cena, The Rock's clash with Vin caught the attention of the public. It all started when he called out some of his fellow cast members, calling them scaredy cats and not willing to look past themselves for the good of the franchise. Naturally, the controversy became the talk of the town. But here's where things get interesting. In a surprising turn of events, Vin publicly reached out to The Rock and asked him to return for Fast X. He wanted to bury the hatchet and bring back the electrifying presence of Agent Hobbs. However, The Rock wasn't buying it. He saw through the public request and called it plain manipulative. But after experiencing a box office flop with Black Adam, he quickly realized that returning to the Fast and Furious franchise and reprising his role as Agent Hobbs could be a career redeemer. Sometimes you've got to swallow your pride and go where the success lies. Now you might be wondering how this feud impacted Cena and The Rock on the set of Fast X, but that remains a mystery. Cena said that they don't bring up WWE when they're together, but are both great friends besides that. Yeesh, that sounds awkward. The behind-the-scenes dynamics can be tricky to decipher, but hey, these are professionals we're talking about. They've got the acting skills to set aside personal differences and deliver an amazing performance on screen. The feud might have created some sparks, but that'll only help make their characters feel that much more real. So from the rivals having an awkward relationship on the set of Fast X, to the soldiers slamming Dwayne Johnson for switching careers, that was John Cena opening up about his feud with The Rock.